Sorry for being late, guys. Today we are starting off the month of M. I don't know if any of you have seen the agenda. Every single topic or every single theme for this month starts with the letter M. Oh. And we're starting with maps. Map making is an ancient and respected art form. Civilizations and empires have devoted vast resources to making maps, mostly to figure out which borders to fight over. Roads and freeway maps have improved travel and trade throughout the centuries. Trail maps and navigational charts have made tourism less painful. And modern GPS and GIS applications are making the world more accessible to everyone. So think about this millennia-old legacy as we ponder our daily questions that are going to be our table topics questions, along with other sort of daily life questions like where is the nearest Starbucks? So our first question is going to be this one. Many video games feature an on-screen minimap that shows enemies, allies, treasure, and or important landmarks. If your life had a minimap, what would you want it to show? MaryJane.
Oh. Martin. It's actually interesting. I worked at an art school, and students learned about how to make video games and do mapping and level design. I got to see something similar to Grand Theft Auto design, and if any of you know Grand Theft Auto, they do a really good job of recreating certain cities. And I think one time I was playing with a game and just walking around Los Angeles. My life map would definitely expand greater than Los Angeles. Although I don't know geographic locations very well outside of LA, I couldn't tell you how far away, or if it was north or south, or east or west, or the propinquity of San Jose to San Francisco. Anything outside of LA, I couldn't tell you how far away it is. But when it comes to the world, I visited 15 countries in the short time I've been on this planet, and I plan to visit many more. What I would like to do and what I would like to see for my own life map is a world map, which actually I have in my room. I got for my birthday. It was this bulletin board with this world map silk screened onto it, and it came with little push pins. So what I have is I have 15 pins in every country that I visited, which is really neat. And I have a few scattered around the United States. And I hope to add a new pin to Machu Picchu next May.
Thank you. Wow, hopefully we can all start adding pins to our own maps throughout our lives. With current congestion in space, there is increasing worry that an accident might lead to a catastrophic scenario that destroys all of our satellite and, most importantly, GPS capabilities. How would your life change if you didn't have GPS? Sarah.
That's a good one. My life would change drastically if I did not have GPS. Earlier today, I was looking out the window, talking with a coworker, and I was like, this is west, and this is south. And she's like, no. And I got very confused as to where I was oriented in the room. And I realized I was looking north. So GPS has saved me so many times trying to get to a friend's house that I had never been that is in my neighborhood.
Oh, no.
It has helped me getting lost coming back from the airport. It has helped me go on actual travels where I'm going to somewhere I don't know. GPS is wonderful. It might be a little inhibiting at times. If the space debris were to collide and we did not have GPS, I would just stay where I'm, comfortable. I would, try not to get lost. And that is how GPS affects my life.
Does no one carry around like a little pocket, like a little atlas or city map anymore? Come on, guys. We gotta be ready for the zombie apocalypse, okay? Most world maps prominently show the European and American continents, leading some to believe that we are implying that these people or countries are of greater importance. Do you agree or disagree? Would you change the world map if you could? Asher? Is it Asher?
Asher.
Asher, sorry.
Thank you. That's an interesting question. I'd never heard of that being an issue. I think it would come down to the audience. You know, if you are surveying certain areas within the United States or within Western Europe, then it makes complete sense to have a map that focuses on that. And actually, an issue in map making is that map making is always a distortion to represent how the universe, or not the universe, the world is, which is a spherical object, on a flat piece of paper. So if you unpeeled an orange and you laid it out flat on a table, it wouldn't be flat. I mean, you'd have to rip it up in parts, and it would just be all a mishmash and misshapen. So as for the issue that Martin raised, I think that it really depends on what you're doing. If you are focusing on a specific continent that's not Western Europe, or Europe I should say, or North America, then you would want to give more place to these other continents. So if you are assembling an overview of the world, then I would agree that yes, you would have to give more focus to these other continents, especially given that they control, that they have billions of people. You know, India has 1 billion people, China has about 1 billion people. So you want to give these countries a presence in proportion to their importance in population.
All right. You're cleaning out your attic. Or you're cleaning out the attic at your grandparents' house and stumble upon an old-looking box. Inside is an ancient-looking container with a scroll that has a treasure map on it. It says that there's a buried chest of gold in a remote part of some obscure island in the Caribbean. What would you do about this treasure map if you found it? Helen.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. I think I would take a good look at this treasure map to try to decipher it, to see what it's all about. I'm curious to know why this map was even here in this house. Maybe there's a story behind how this map ties to our family. So I would try to get as much information as possible. It'd be like an afternoon of researching. And since we have the internet now, if I see any names on this map that I don't know, I could always go to the computer, Google it, and see what comes up. And since it's found in my grandparents' house, is that right? Or I could go ask my grandparent about this map, because maybe they have a lot of stories they like to tell me related to this map. So definitely this would be a very fun thing to do. And I would, even with the information I found, I could share it with the rest of the family, such as my kids, because they might be interested in finding out what this old map is really all about. Thank you.
All right, next question is going to be for our guest, Sopheap, if you want to take it. I think maybe you probably have a good idea of what this part of the meeting kind of looks like.
Yeah.
You basically have like a minute or two to answer the question that I give you. You can be as broad or off topic as you want. You just want to have some sort of response and be able to get placed in that sort of impromptu situation. So if you want, I can give you a question, or if you want, I can wait until next meeting, or...
I can try that.
All right,
Yeah.
Good. Way to be brave. All right, Sopheap, this one's going to be fun. Well, in the way that Wes thinks things are fun. You're walking through the wilderness alone, and you don't have a map, but you still have your phone. Unfortunately, you've been listening to Justin Bieber hits all day, and your battery just ran out. And even more unfortunately, you realized you're not on a trail anymore. What do you do to get back to civilization?
Well, that's definitely a really tough question. I almost actually encountered that over the summer when I went hiking.
Were you listening to Justin Bieber?
No. I learned that you have to turn off your phone when you're in the woods, because it's always trying to find a signal, so the battery life will die. So always turn off your phone when you're hiking or in the woods. Usually, during the summer, we were on this trail, and my friend was worried. He said, "Where are we going? Why are we crossing through so many rivers and paths? I do not see a trail anymore." I said, "Well, I believe we're going the right direction." I just kind of went off of instinct. But the moment when we kind of hit this dead end at a cliff, I realized, oh, we are way off. Where should we go now? So I figured, why not like backtrack to where we first started to feel as if, okay, is this where we last left off? So we went back, but then there's a dilemma. It was split into 3 ways. Where did we come from? What direction did we come from? We had no idea. We did not know what to do. So what we did was, we said, hey, why not? Let's split up. Sure. So I went one way, my friend went another way. But luckily, those 2 trails that we took came together. And we actually went back we found a sign that says, do you want to go to the falls over here, or do you want to go back to the campgrounds? So we said, we're going to go back to the campgrounds, and we're not going to try for the falls any longer. And that's what happened.
I thought I was gonna stump you with a very hypothetical scenario, and here you've actually been through this. So. Look at that. All right, we have time for one more question. Today's high school curriculum is increasingly packed with important classes like AP Calculus and AP Physics, along with somewhat less useful ones like AP English or AP Psychology. But geography is less and less prevalent as a required subject. Do you think that we should leave geography off for more important stuff, or put it back in, and why?
Ooh, me?
I mean, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that question, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Well, geography, of course, when I went to school, we had to have it. And nowadays, I guess people think that it's not necessary because you have GPS. But I would think it's still important. You still want to know where you are, where you're going, how to get there. And besides, one day, something may happen to your towers and you may not have GPS. So you need to learn how to read a map. Because you never know when you may need it. And use a compass. But bottom line, Mr. Table Topics Master, I think it is still a very important topic, because without it, we wouldn't know anything. You need it. It's important. That's my response, Mr. Table Topics.
All right, that's all the time we have today, so I will turn it back over to our Toastmasters.